Hi, everyone. My name is Nadine Gilkison, and I am happy to have you join me today to learn about Chrome and accessibility part one. I'm doing this in collaboration with Project Recess through a friend of mine, Santi, who was actually my coach for Google Innovator. I'm a district technology integration specialist with Franklin Township Schools, and I'm excited that you're going to be joining us today. Up in the upper right-hand corner is a bit.ly link to get to the presentation that I'm going to be going over if you want to reference that at any time. So the tools that I'm going to be covering today are going to be Select to Speak on a Chromebook, magnification options on a Chromebook, and also live captions on a Chromebook. So we're going to get started first with that Select to Speak, and I'm very excited about this update with Select to Speak on a Chromebook. Speaking of accessibility, each time that I cover a tool, I'm going to go through this pattern. I'm going to tell you just in a nutshell what it is. So you might be familiar with the Chrome Vox, and that's the one that's an accessibility tool that will read everything on a screen. But now with this update on Select to Speak, you can actually select a specific portion of text that you want to have read aloud on a screen. So on the Chromebook, I'm going to demonstrate how to activate it. So we're going to move into that next. Now the image that you see over here to the side, this will actually link out to the Chromebook simulator. So I'm going to actually show you the steps on the Chromebook itself. But if you want to refer back to this, using that Chromebook simulator is actually really cool, and it's going to help you constantly with making any kinds of changes with that. So I'm going to actually escape out of this so that way I can get to my menu here. And down here at the bottom, I'm actually going to tap. And when I tap, then I'm going to go out to the settings on my Chromebook. And I'm having it take just a minute here. On the settings, I'm going to have to scroll down to advanced. Okay. And when I'm on the advanced, I'm then going to look for accessibility. On mine, and this is something that you want to make sure that you're telling students, you want to make sure that this Okay, everyone, sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties with audio, so we're going to start this over to make sure that everybody can hear everything from the beginning. So I'm Nadine Gilkison. I'm presenting on behalf of Project Recess, and our session today is about Chrome and accessibility, part 1. If you want to join us using the bit.ly link, we have that listed up at the top if you want to follow along with me. So the items that I'm going to be talking about today are select to speak on a Chromebook, magnification options on a Chromebook, and also live captions. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and get started with select to speak. So one of the cool options that a Chromebook already has available to you is the Chromevox. And so when it's activated, it could actually read anything on the screen in front of you. With the latest update, they now have select to speak. And so what it gives a user the option of is that they can actually select a specific portion of text that can be read aloud on that screen on the Chromebook. So the way that you can activate it, this is actually pretty cool. This is a Chromebook simulator, and it's going to walk you through step by step on how to activate that on the Chromebook. And literally, it's going to take us step by step. I'm actually going to go out to it really quick here. So with this, it's actually going to walk you through here step by step where you are enabling in that, where you can turn on those features for that feature to be up and available. But most important, after you activate it, I wanted to give you some tips with it. So there's some shortcuts to remember. And with that, whenever you're going to activate it, you're going to highlight words or you're going to highlight certain portions. And something that I always make sure that students are aware of, and adults as well, is that if you want to highlight something on a Chromebook, if I double tap, then the word will be highlighted. If I triple tap on the touchpad, then it would highlight all of the text. So if I want to use that shortcut, when I'm ready to have something read aloud to me, I'm going to tap the search and S, and then it's going to read it aloud. So let's see this in action. So on here, I've got a video of my daughter demonstrating how this can be used in the classroom. Different ways to integrate select to speak in a classroom setting using a Chromebook. So Mackenzie, what are some of the shortcuts to remember?
When you want to highlight a word, you double tap on the touchpad. When you want to highlight the whole text, you want to triple tap on the touchpad.
Okay, so we're going to demonstrate really quickly on this slide first. So Mackenzie, why don't you show us if we wanted to have the word up at the top of the screen? Right?
Only one word?
Yes, only one word.
So you want to double tap. Oh, wait, yeah, you have to click on it first. Then you have to double tap, and then you have to hit.
You have to hold down the search key and tap S.
Shortcuts.
Okay, pretty cool. So now demonstrate for us, what if you need that entire piece read aloud?
Well, then you hit it 3 times.
Okay, and then hold down search.
Shortcuts to remember.
Which is pretty cool. Okay, so we know that it works in that fashion, but let's see what that application looks like in different fashions here. So we're inside a Google Classroom, and let's say that the teacher has given you a lesson on Wednesday. So Mackenzie, show us how you could have Wednesday read aloud to you.
Since I have an assignment, I don't know what the word is, and I'll hit it 3 times. And then I'll hit the search bar, then S.
Wednesday, lesson 2.5 practice with powers of 10 assignment, 2.5 HL.
Okay, now if you didn't realize this, so on the screen here, we see that we have different options. So in other words, if Mackenzie wanted to change the speed of how fast that this is reading it out loud, then she has that option. If she wanted to play it again, she could hit play. It will also continue from where it left off. So you're not having to constantly highlight, just one area at a time. So this works anywhere with TrueType text. Let's try a couple other examples just so that they have an idea. So let's pretend like that your teacher has you reading an article from Time for Kids. I picked something from the SpaceX. So Mackenzie, on here, let's say that the teacher wants you to read this portion. And this time, I want you to show us how you highlight the entire thing.
Well, how to highlight the entire thing is you want to hit it 1, 2, 3. Oh, right, yeah. There we go.
Quickly, yes.
And then you want to hit
Hold down search.
and then S.
After 3 days of orbiting the planet, the Inspiration 4 crew returned to Earth in the SpaceX Dragon capsule. On September 18th, the crew splashed down in the Atlantic Ocean off the Florida coast.
Pretty cool, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's show you one more example on here as well. So let's say that the teacher has given them an assignment that is in Google Slides. So we have in here a example of what they might be doing in class. Maybe she can't read the first slide and she's not sure what the topic is. So she's going to go in here and have it read.
Physical science.
Okay, and if she wanted the other parts read aloud too, then she could. Well, let's go to an actual assignment slide. All right, so Mackenzie, what would you do? So pretend you're in class and the teacher tells you that you're going to do this activity and you're on your own independently. What would you do to help you?
Well, I realized that it's really hard to read all those words because they're really small and it's really hard to see. So then I would just take my touchpad, go up to it, and I would hop on it to where you can see it, to where there's a little dot blinking. And then I would hit it 3 times, go to the search bar, and then go to yes.
Explain how the 4 key components of flight apply to paper airplanes. Start with the basic version, then select 2 other types to create. Analyze and compare the data from the 3 different types you select.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
All right, high five. Yeah. All right, so we've now seen how it works and how it integrates in action. I don't know about you, but I think it's pretty cool. Definitely being able to show kids this ability on a Chromebook is going to be key. I've already been sharing it with our teachers in our district and beyond. And the more folks that we can share that out with, I know that it's going to have a huge impact for kids in the classroom. So the next piece is going to be magnification options. So with that, there's actually 4 different ways that you could make a screen larger on a Chromebook. So the way that you're going to activate it, there's also that accessibility portion on the Chromebook where we can activate it, and I'll get to that in a moment. But the one that people are really common with, but maybe you don't have an actual Chromebook keyboard picture in front of you when you're trying to demonstrate to kids, is holding down Control and tapping the plus or minus is going to zoom in and zoom out. If you like this graphic, I created this graphic in Google Drawings, and at the end of this presentation, I have a link to the graphic that you could use to help with instructing kids on how to do these different shortcuts. Because it's one thing to tell them, but when you can actually have a picture of a keyboard with the items indicated, that really helps. Keep in mind, if you have a touchscreen Chromebook, then they always have the ability that they can take their fingers to the screen and zoom in and out as well. Again, we have a couple of options on here. You can do a whole screen. You can activate a whole screen magnifier inside of that Chromebook. And you also have a docked magnifier. So the difference is with the whole screen, obviously it's going to make the entire screen incredibly large. I have a link here again that's going to take us out to that Chromebook simulator, and it's going to walk us through how to do these options. So it's telling us to tap in the corner, select it. I'm going to those accessibility tools, and then I'm looking for what features can I activate, and that's where I've got the full screen magnifier. The other part that I have on there is that I can also, tap on here and use some of those shortcuts. Speaking of shortcuts, at the same time, I have on a Chromebook where I can activate these shortcut keys to do the same concept. So if I hold down Control, Search, and M, I can actually go ahead and activate that whole screen magnifier, even if I forgot to enable it on the accessibility settings. It's like that the Chromebook is reading your mind, and it's like, wait, are you trying to activate the whole screen magnifier? And I can hit yes, and it will go ahead and enlarge it. The other option that you have on here is what they call the docked screen magnifier. With the docked screen magnifier, it actually does like a split screen where it's going to have the original screen at the bottom and a magnification portion at the top. I went out to our junior high and I met with a student who is actually low vision, and I was showing her all of these updates and asking for her opinion on them. And she did like that there are different options on her Chromebook that she has. And she didn't realize that those options were there until I was helping her dive deep into it, which has then prompted me that I want to make sure that all of my teachers in special education know about these options to show our students that they have this capability. So as far as integration, when I was having the conversation with the student, she said that for the docked magnification, she has such low vision that one was going to be a little bit harder for her to use. But she said that she did have students that she knew of that having the split version was going to help them out significantly. We actually have some teachers that work in our district that also have that as a disability, and they were really happy about the docked magnification, that they could have that option of having it half and half, because then that way it can help them and assist them as well. But really the ability to have a variety, that was one thing that the student kept commenting to me, was that rather than there being only one way that they could zoom in, there could be multiple ways, so that way it's not only one option that they could choose from. So that way you can show the kids all the options and let them decide which one is the best one for me. And when I asked the girl, she said that she liked having all the options, but she does prefer the touchpad and being able to pinch in and out. But she did appreciate the fact that I showed her these other options as well. So the third one is live captions. And I was really excited when I saw that the live captions was on here. So in a nutshell, what this is, basically anywhere that the user has media with audio. So think about if it is like a podcast link, if it's an audio file, or if it's a video file that has audio with it, you can actually enable live captioning to occur. So how you can activate this one is, again, going into the accessibility settings, onto your Chromebook. And you can activate the live captioning. Another cool part about it is that you can even dive deep in the fact that you can decide how large do you want the text. Do you want to have it default to having like a darker background, to have a higher contrast? One thing to note is that with the live captions, currently right now, it says that it's available in English only for the live captions. So I wanted to make sure that you know that as well. So an integration, I have another video of Mackenzie and I going over these features, so that way you can see them in action. So we'll go ahead and show you that.
And I'm Mackenzie Gilbertson.
In this short video clip, we're going to be showing you how a student could use live captioning on a Chromebook for their classwork. So inside of here, we have an example of a lesson that a teacher could give you. And this one is a pretty cool lesson because we're learning how to justify video-based evidence. So now what the student has to do is they have to watch the video and then explain with video text evidence. So when Mackenzie is going to tap play, go ahead and do that for us, Mackenzie.
Oh, do we have to go present mode?
Charles Osborne began to hiccup in 1922 after a hog fell on top of him. He wasn't cured until 68 years later. and is now listed by unit.
So the cool part about this is that, yes, I know that YouTube has live captioning, but to me, the really cool part about this for a student is the fact that they can be inside of a slide deck and they can activate live captioning and they don't have to be taken out to another screen. You can be actively in your Google Slides and you can have the live captioning on there. So I don't know about you, but I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think you would use that?
Oh yeah.
Would that help you to kind of follow along in class whenever you're listening to something?
Yeah, because I would read something and I was sometimes not sure what she said. So then it would take me forever to go back and find whatever she said.
Okay. All right. So a pretty cool tip. I really like it.
So do I.
Nope. Hi, I'm Nadine Gilkison.
And I'm Mackenzie Gilkison.
Sorry about
In
that.
this short video clip, we're going to be showing you how a
And I just keep rambling on. I really, really, really like the fact that you have live captions as an option. I was just telling our teachers about this as well. Like I said, I demonstrated it in Google Slides, but what's really nice about this is that, it could be that a teacher is using Google Docs, a student is using any of these platforms. Even if, I'm thinking of older students that, they're in Gmail, if anything is a media file that has audio with it, it automatically starts to generate it. I don't know if you noticed right whenever I got ready to start the video, but my live captioning was turning on automatically again. And I love the fact that, I'm going to leave it on all the time. So I have it as needed. And it has an X in the corner if I'm like, you know what, I don't need the live captioning at this time. So I think it's a great addition for people to take a look at, definitely, and spread the word. So with that, I know that I'm at like the Q&A portion, and there might be some folks that have some questions. You can let us know if you have any questions about any of the things that I was covering. As we get to the Q&A, I do want to make sure that you know the resources that I have listed at the end of the slide deck. So I have that direct link to the Chromebook simulator. I wanted you to be able to see the Chromebook keyboard image. I'll let that load. I really feel like that Chromebook shortcuts are key to helping students understand the difference of how to utilize that Chromebook in a better fashion. Keep in mind that if you are in the graphic, you can then download the Chromebook graphic. You can copy and paste the image and put it into any of your presentations that you need to do for students. On the Chromebook shortcuts, I took the most popular that we are doing, and then I put that into a graphic. We also have in there something about Chromebook shortcuts for littles. I compiled this from our teachers, and they gave me some top tips. You can access that. I started to realize that our kids needed an activity to learn how to use the Chromebook. And so I've got the art of learning how to use a Chromebook in here as well. You're free to use any of these in your classroom. Also, the 2 lessons that I referenced in the videos with Mackenzie, I also gave you links to those in case you're interested in that. I'm hearing that we had a question about the Chromebox. Does Chromebox or the Select to Speak translate from the language shown on the screen? Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not going to 100% tell you if I know the answer to that. So we'll make sure that we respond on the YouTube link to get you the answer that you need for that, because I don't want to tell you yes and then find out, oh, I told you wrong. But I'm very glad that someone asked that. Will this work on the Chrome browser, or do you have to have Chromebooks to use all of these? Good question. So for the items, for the screen magnifier and for the Select to Speak, those are built into the Chromebook itself. Out of all of the features, I did realize that the live captioning actually works on a Chromebook, but it also works on a desktop or other devices. But out of those, it's totally in the Chromebook. that you need to use the other tools that are out there. Okay. Let's see if we have any others. Is there any way to collect the live captions to use the transcript later and perhaps be able to use the speak selection to review? Oh, a way to capture the live, I see what you're saying, the live captions. I'll probably do some research on that, because whoever asked that question, I'm sure you're not the only person that's going to be asking that. I am not sure if it will automatically like populate the live captions, so then you could go back and use it as a transcript. And I see what you're saying, because if you're in a Google Meet or something like that, it will also populate that transcript. My guess is that because this feature is pretty new, they may not have that capability yet, but that is a great question for us to pass along to Google to let them know that, that you guys are interested in that capability. As I said, there's lots of resources that are listed on here that you're free to use at any time. Feel free to reach out to me, Nadine Gilkison. You can follow me on Twitter. It's just my first and last name. But I appreciate Google and Project Recess for giving me the opportunity to present for you today. And I am going to stop sharing, but I'm very, it's been very nice being able to present to you guys today. If anyone has any further questions, I'm happy to stay on the stream for a little bit longer. And then if you want, I will reach out to you afterwards as well.